FFE2. C9. C9. Might use the this one. Damn it. God damn it. Alright, toggle. Honestly, I don't. So 1, 2, 3, 4. FNaF 2. I made that myself. FNaF 2 80s remix instrument. Right? That is true. Oh. Wait, what?
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to week 8 of Minecraft Mondays, where today is a special day. As you've seen by the title, as you've seen by the thumbnail, we're playing with Techno today. I don't quite know how this happened, but Justin couldn't guarantee to make the whole stream today. So he stepped aside and Techno hopped in the DMs. He was like, do you want a team? And of course, I said yes. So yeah, we're teaming with Techno today, and that's good because they actually removed a lot of the mini games and put in more rounds of Hunger Games. So today we are playing 6. That's right, 6 rounds of Hunger Games. We've got TNT Run, Bingo, and Kit PvP as well. So Techno is going to be all over this. Hopefully it's good. I am his student today, going to figure it out, and he's going to teach me the ways of Minecraft PvP. So
now it's up to us this week to save Minecraft Monday, Dan. We have an important mission, all right?
Okay. Are you wearing the lobby? I've done a special skin just for you.
Oh, God. The crossover. You've got a pork chop.
Okay, so yeah, this is especially for you. I am your student today.
Oh, yes.
Please.
All right, it's time. We're going to destroy them.
If we take first place, I might be okay with that.
It's the only way. We got to save Minecraft Monday.
Follow the master. Let's go.
I've played this map before, but I'm too lazy to remember chess. Oh, Grande and Dolan. Let's stab them.
You're feeling. Let's go.
Oh, get him. Let's get him. Yeah.
I feel so powerful.
Grande.
Oh, there he is.
Grande. It wasn't happening. All right, and now we're gonna go hunt for easy kills. All right. Go.
Savage.
Person actually. Oh, they don't have health though.
There we go.
There we go. Actually, let's get to mid. I don't know what that border's doing. I want to get a little bit closer.
Is it going to be super fast or slow as? Who knows? James!
Get him.
I'm running as fast as I can.
Get him.
Oh, nice.
The best team up I've ever
seen. Oh, pearls. Yoink.
Okay, how many's left?
The best
6.
team up I've ever seen.
Let's chill up here for a bit. We got this. Oh my God, that border's close. All right. It's a bit of a stalemate. Let's all bully Phil. Yeah, let's bully him. Yeah, let's bully him.
Yeah, give me that.
Yeah.
I got a kill for once.
Careful, we're gonna get cleaned. Oh.
Ooh.
And not even close.
Oh, buddy.
Get him.
I got another one. Let's go.
Yep, this is what we're doing. He's got a bow. He's got a bow. Rush him. He's going to bow.
Are we going? Are we going?
Get
Let's
him.
go. I'm coming in.
Get him.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes!
Oh my God. We actually
it feels
won.
Beautiful. It feels so good.
We actually won. I had 1 heart.
You had 1 heart. Oh, let's go. I had 3 kills too. That's the most I've ever got in any game ever.
Nice. I had 5.
Oh, man.
The prophecy is true. I can't believe we defeated
full-on prophecy as well. Oh, TNT run. Okay.
First.
Oh, that makes me so freaking happy. I drop kicked that orphan in self-defense. Right? This is no more a kid-friendly channel. This is a self-defense channel. This is a self-defense channel. Stop TikTok. Get at it. When the smartest kid in class helps a pop, you're like, yeah, right, true. Doing God's work. Techno, I am your student today. This is the best cross. This is Man, it makes me sad that Techno's not here, but man, that's the best. That's the best team of our This is the best. Both. This is the best team of our
My name is Tyler Devereaux. I'm inviting you to attend my brand new 2-hour live masterclass, and I'm about to show you.
Technoblade is known as one of the best PvPers and an extremely scary person in general. Like, many people have had actual nightmares from his face. Like, this man's like so chaotic and terrifying, it's kind of funny. That being said, many people strive to be as much of a gamer as him by either trying to copy his skin or copy how he plays. Copying his skin is easy though. Even someone as dumb as me can easily do this by just downloading his skin online and putting it on my Minecraft account. But copying the way he plays? Well, that's something that takes a bit more time. So after many hours of studying his playstyle, whether it was older videos like his Skyros commentaries and Minecraft Monday streams, to newer videos like his 100k 1v1 against stream to Minecraft Championship footage, I've compiled a list of all the necessary things someone needs to learn to PvP like Technoblade. By the way, before I begin, please consider subscribing. I want to be cool. Literally every single person and their mom has watched.
Officer!
So,
Bank! It's right around the corner. Alright, cheers, thank you!
so make
It's right around the corner. Alright, cheers, thank you!
their mom has watched.
Officer, whereabouts is the closest bank? It's right around the corner. Alright, cheers, thank you!
So make sure to like,
Bro's
sub,
on his way
if
to
you
go
want
rob the
learn
bank.
how to play like Dream, since he's also a
Alright,
pretty
thanks.
insane gamer.
Wait, what?
So anyway, let's get into this video. A pretty insane gamer. So anyway, let's get into this video. To begin, let's set how we will analyze Techno. I'm going to talk about 3 different main categories to his playstyle, or for that matter, anyone's playstyle. These categories are aim, movement, and game sense. At first, aim seems quite simple. It's just generally how good someone is at following a target with their crosshair. It isn't that simple actually, especially with Techno, who plays different versions of Minecraft which require different styles of aiming. The next category is movement. Again, it seems quite simple to a normal player, but depending on the version you play, it can be vastly different. This topic is really interesting actually, and I'll talk about this second. The last category is going to be game sense, and this is really interesting actually, but depending on the version you play, it can be vastly different. This topic is really interesting actually, and depending on the version you play, it can be Again, it seems quite simple to a normal player, but depending on the version you play, it can be vastly different. This topic is really interesting actually, and I'll talk about this second. The last category is going to be game sense, and this is by far the most confusing of the three. Techno is all around a solid Minecraft PvPer, but as I'll get into later, what sets him apart from just about any normal player is certainly this category. I might go as far to say that it is the sole reason he won the 100k duel against Dream. Before this all starts, I'd like to mention that I'm not even close to being as good as Techno in both versions. I actually suck at the game, I have terrible aim, I don't even want to show you my gameplay just at risk of harming any of you guys. But it doesn't mean that I don't know how to play, at least theoretically if I were good. So without further ado, let's start with aim. Aiming is something that anyone can get good at with practice. Some people just naturally have very good aim though, and Techno is a perfect example of this. Going back in time a bit, let's look at the game Quake. For anyone that doesn't know, it's widely regarded as one of the most aim-intensive games ever, and being the best at it certainly means you have some of the best aim in the entire world. In January of 2020, Hypixel hosted a Quake tournament across the entire server. Although it is different from Quake, since it's completely in Minecraft, you still need to have incredibly good aim to be good at it because it functions the same as the original. In this tournament, across the entire server, across every person on the globe, Techno placed 24th. This takes an incredible amount of skill to place that high in such an aim-intensive game. So right away, I've already established how good Techno's aim is. So you might be asking, how can I aim this well? Well, the way Techno aims is fairly standard, where he tracks around the neck of any player. This is the best place. The way Techno aims is fairly standard, where he tracks around the neck of any player. This is the best place to aim in Minecraft, as the way hitboxes work in Minecraft is quite weird. You can hit anyone anywhere on their body, so aiming the furthest out that you possibly can will give you the best reach. The place that you're anywhere on their body, so aiming the furthest out that you possibly can will give you the best reach. The place that your attack comes from is your face actually. Techno talks about this in his dream analysis video, and he explains how it helps him with low ground.
Huge. The reach you can hit people from begins at the player's eyes, so when Dream is a block higher than me, it's much easier for me to hit his feet than from begins at the player's eyes, so when Dream is a block
How it helps him with low ground.
huge. The reach you can hit people from begins at the player's eyes, so when Dream is a block higher than me, it's much easier for me to hit his feet than for him to hit my head because the base of a right triangle is shorter than the hypotenuse. Stay in school, kids. It makes you better at PvP.
It also helps out in other ways, like getting the optimal amount of reach. Your reach extends out exactly 3 blocks from your head, so at best you'll be able to hit someone exactly 3 blocks away if you have your mouse exactly parallel to the ground. So aiming as high as you can when your enemy is level with you is the best place you can aim. Keep in mind that this works in both versions, so aiming at around their neck is the best place possible as it will give you the biggest hitbox to hit while giving you the best possible reach. I'm assuming after years of PvPing he does this subconsciously. To be able to aim like Techno, you're going to want to adopt this habit as well and always try and aim at the neck area. Next, I'll be looking at movement. Movement depends a lot on the version you're playing. Both versions have different techniques to maintain combos, but I'm not going to focus on that and just generalize for both of them. Techno's main way he uses good movement is in his long A and D combos. Most PvPers try to spam or be erratic with their A and D movements to try and confuse the enemy by rapidly moving back and forth, but Techno almost does the opposite sometimes. Although he does strafe back and forth at points, he's really good at having longer strafes where he circles his enemies. He does these full long strafes a lot in 1.8. When I say a lot, I mean more than most players would do. Mostly you'll see him straight line where you just hold W and run at them clicking, or A and D strafe to try and get the enemy to miss. But when he gets an opening, combos. Techno's main way he uses good movement is in his long A and D combos. Most PvPers try to spam or be erratic with their A and D movements to try and confuse the enemy by rapidly moving back and forth, but Techno almost does the opposite sometimes. Although he does strafe back and forth at points, he's really good at having longer strafes sometimes. Although he does Most PvPers try to spam or be erratic with their A and D movements to try and confuse the enemy by rapidly moving back and forth, but Techno almost does the opposite sometimes. Although he does strafe back and forth at points, he's really good at having longer strafes where he circles his enemies. He does these full, long strafes a lot in 1.8. When I say a lot, I mean more than most players would do. Mostly you'll see him straight line where you just hold W and run at them clicking, or A and D strafe to try and get the enemy to miss. But when he gets an opening where the enemy clearly misses, he'll continue strafing to one side instead of looping back. This is another reason that he's so dominant in 1.16 as well. The years of 1.8 PvP with the weird strafe patterns helps a ton in 1.16. Obviously you don't want to do this all the time, and that's another important thing I need to mention, is most of these techniques are just done when he needs it the most. As you get better and better, you'll notice more opportunities to just hold A or D and strafe around them, but don't always do this, you'll be really easy to predict. The last important strategy in the movement category is using crits. Whenever Techno gets in trades with people, so people usually evenly skilled with him, he almost always tries to crit when trading so he deals 50% more damage than them, even if they're both hitting each other the same amount of times. For anyone that doesn't know, critical hits happen when you're falling downwards when you hit the enemy, which does 50% more damage than an average attack. By doing crits while an enemy does normal hits, he's guaranteed to win almost any fight as long as the enemy doesn't get into a combo. Essentially, to play like Techno, you want to master your movement keys, have solid strafe patterns that are unpredictable in both versions, and also have the option to do full, long strafes, making it much harder to hit you. Also, being able to tell when you need to do full, have solid strafe patterns that are unpredictable in both versions, and also have the option to do full, long strafes, making it much harder to hit you. Also, being able to tell when you need to do crits or when you just need to strafe them out is really important to understanding his playstyle. The thing that sets Techno apart from any other player is certainly his game sense. Yes, his aim is extremely good and his strafe patterns are fairly solid, but there are definitely other players in the sweatier PvP communities that play much more, meaning they have better aim and movement after playing hours and hours a day compared to Techno farming, I guess, for hours and hours a day. The reason he's still so dominant in the game, even though he takes long breaks from the game and doesn't always focus on PvP, is because of his game sense and use of terrain. In MCC5, during a game of survival games, he ran straight through an alleyway with a team of 3 chasing him. Keep in mind, the other 3 players had much better armor, and Techno didn't even have a chestplate. In one of the most iconic fights in MCC history, Techno pulls off this crazy play using his game sense and the environment around him. Spamming arrows with his crossbow, he is able to rapid fire through 4 different crossbows and shred through his enemy by trapping them with cobwebs. This is a perfect example of how he uses the environment and his items, however limited they may be, to his advantage.
I'm not a fast enough thinker for that. The cobwebs out of his inventory, the several crossbows, I'm taken back watching that.
Yeah, I love
stops to get
the cobwebs out of the inventory. So it's kind of like,
how do you even how do those tactics come up? Like, where do they come from?
Another great example.
All right, Little Caesar.
Yeah, that turtle shell was a bad idea.
Caesar says free delivery and there's no catch.
Wait, but that's what we do. I catch
of his game sense was in the Dream fights. Lots would consider Dream the better 1.16 PvPer, and Techno the better 1.8 PvPer. Techno played extremely smart as he knew this. Using his game sense, he mentions at one point of the fight that Dream gets 2 free hits on him in one of the first 1.16 fights.
So we're staring at each other, Dream goes in, gets the first hit, and then just kind of sits there and lets me heal. Oh, are we gonna hit each other? Dream hits me again, and he's like, you know what, never mind. I'm gonna let you heal, so.
Still, using his game knowledge, he just plays around and stalls Dream out so he can regen. This gives him the opportunity to even out the fight and then push the advantage when he has even health. This is also an important part of Techno's playstyle. He is extremely aggressive in both versions, but also can be incredibly defensive if he needs to. His reasoning for being defensive is simple. When he is low, he retreats and stalls to heal, but sometimes he plays super aggressively when he has one of 3 things. 1. The enemy has much worse armor. 2. The enemy is low from him getting a first hit or taking damage from someone else. Or 3. He knows he is the better player.
I like how he's got better stuff than you, and he's...
Oh god, he just got all of his health back!
Come back, come back.
Oh my god!
This is why I believe Techno won the duel in the first place. No matter which version he played in, his defensiveness helped him even out any fight before engaging, so he could fight when he was at his strongest. In the same fight, he actually ends up winning after pushing his advantage. This shows even further how effective playing super aggressively is when you have an advantage. We can also see how him playing aggressively helps him win in other Minecraft Mondays. Using his Skywars experience, he learns exactly when to push the advantage and pearl aggressively on the enemy. He does this a lot in Minecraft Mondays and even mentions it at one point when he is playing too aggressive.
You literally said you're not gonna...
I can't help it! I want points!
This is also extremely important for his image as well. Part of what makes him so good at PvP is fear. I know it sounds really weird at first, but being a scary person actually helps him with PvP. A perfect example of this was in Minecraft Ultimate, where his team got a total of 116 kills in a 220 YouTuber event. The only team that came close to killing him was the team that actually turned and fought back. In the event, seeing Technoblade in full diamond, plus X Nestorio, who's arguably one of the all-time greatest PvPers solely because he's so good at the bow, and Calvin, a top survival games and pot PvPer, with all three of these people flying at you, you obviously would run and not fight back. All of their PvP skill added together makes for a full-on army, which is extremely scary even for the toughest of minemen.
Leave! Oh no! If they kill us, I don't... Oh no! Techno! Run!
The thing is, after winning so many fights early on, Techno stopped putting his chestplate back on after elytring on the enemies.
I don't even need my diamond chestplate, I'm just going for kills. I don't need a chestplate. I don't need a chestplate for you guys.
And with a player down, this left him with barely any armor, even with the other diamond pieces. Most teams could easily have killed him with the reduced armor points, as demonstrated with one of the only teams that fought back, which he acknowledges after the fight as well.
Purple is dead.
I'm low on health.
Purple's a one hit. I got them off you. You're safe, you're safe.
We're good, we're good. That was actually pretty close. They recognized I had the Elytron, which really reduces my hit points.
Him being such a menacing guy helps Techno's PvP skill as he mentally messes up people before they've even fought him, and causes them to run even if he's essentially broke. This is called technophobia. It's a real thing, guys. This is very serious. I've actually heard of some people needing therapy after fighting him. This is a very real issue, guys. Don't stop laughing. To conclude the game sense topic, to play like Techno, you'll need a good understanding of
What if I told you that this could be you by the end of this video? PvP on the latest version of Minecraft is one of the most advanced things that a player can learn. There's tons of unique PvP-based game modes that exist, and with massive servers like MCC Island and Tubnet coming out, having the skills to dominate the battlefield will earn you respect and recognition as a Minecraft player. However, if you're new to PvP on the latest version, or you're a 1.8 player who's trying it out for the first time, where do you even start? In this video, I'm going to be showing you the fundamental knowledge you need to have to get into PvP on the latest version. Do note that this is a beginners-oriented guide, and while this video isn't going to automatically turn you into a tier 1 sword player or anything like that, the purpose of this video is to help set you up for success if you choose to get into the Minecraft PvP community. With that being said though, there's a lot to unpack, so let's get started. I wanted to show you guys. Alright, so before we get started, I wanted to show you guys some settings that you probably want to change before you get into PvPing. The first one, and this is something I really wish I knew when I first started, is going into options, accessibility settings, and making sure FOVFX is set to off. FOVFX is also known as dynamic FOV on the previous versions, and it basically makes your FOV change whenever you start sprinting or you have status effects like speed or slowness, for example. On 1.8, I usually have FOVFX on, but for whatever reason on this version, having FOVFX on makes your FOV feel super buggy laggy while you're PvPing, and it's not a good experience at all. If you're coming from 1.8 like me and you're used to having dynamic FOV on, do yourself a favor and disable it on this version. Trust me, it will make your life so much better while PvPing. While we're here, also make sure that auto jump is set to off, and I'd also recommend using toggle sprint. However, I already have toggle sprint enabled on Lunar Client. Since you have FOV effects set to off, it's gonna make your FOV feel really low, so I'd recommend raising your FOV. I have mine set at 95. It's gonna make your FOV I already have toggle. Sure that auto jump is set to off, and I'd also recommend using toggle sprint. However, I already have toggle sprint enabled on Lunar Client. Since you have FOV effects set to off, it's gonna make your FOV feel really low, so I'd recommend raising your FOV. I have mine set at 95, but I'd say anywhere within the range of 90 FOV is good. Another thing you want to do is go into controls, go into mouse settings, and make sure that raw input is enabled. And finally, you want to go into video controls, go into mouse within the range of 90 FOV is good. Another thing you want to do is go into controls, go into mouse settings, and make sure that raw input is enabled. And finally, you want to go into video settings and make sure that attack indicator is set to crosshair. Finally, you want to go into video settings. And make sure that attack indicator is set to crosshair. I know my video settings menu might look completely different from yours if you're playing on vanilla Minecraft, but you can easily find the attack indicator setting in your video settings. Let's start off by talking about the 3 basic types of attacks that are commonly used in Minecraft PvP. Each of these attacks have their own sound effects, so you can know what type of attack you're using against another player. The first type of attack are sweep hits. Sweep hits happen when you attack a player without moving, while moving at a walking speed, or if you haven't reset your sprint. Sweep hits don't deal any additional damage and they deal low knockback. In Minecraft PvP, you generally want to avoid sweep hitting. However, they can be good in some very specific situations, like if you're intentionally trying to deal low knockback to another player, but for the most part, sweep hits generally aren't that good and in most situations should be avoided. The next type of attack are sprint hits. Sprint hits happen when you attack a player while sprinting. Sprint hits don't deal any extra damage, but deal much more knockback than sweep hits. This makes sprint hits really good for getting double hits, starting and holding combos, knocking players away from you, and knocking players into the void if you're playing a void-based game mode. Keep in mind that when you start sprinting, only your first hit will be a sprint hit. The rest of your hits will be sweep hits unless you sprint reset, but we'll get back to that later. The last type of attack that I want to talk about are crit hits. Crit hits deal low knockback, but deal 50% more damage with whatever weapon you're using. This makes them really strong for shredding other players' health. Crit hits are performed the exact same way as sweep hits, but with the additional requirement that you have to be falling to actually perform a crit hit. You can get crit hits by falling after jumping or falling after taking damage. Do note though that in Minecraft Combat, sprint hits take priority over crit hits. If you start a sprint, even if you hit another player while falling, you'll get a sprint hit instead of a crit hit. Oftentimes, you'll need to let go of W while attacking the other player or or stop sprinting if you want to get a crit hit. Anyways, these are the 3 basic types of attacks used in Minecraft PvP regardless of what game mode that you're playing. It's really useful to pay attention to your audio while you're PvPing, so you can hear what types of attacks you're using on another player and you can hear what types of attacks they're using on you.
Have you heard about the perfect storm that's brewing in real estate right now? Listen, I just spent an entire week with Tony Robbins.
Generally, when you're not crit hitting your opponent, you want to be sprint hitting them so you can deal more knockback to them. This is because in Minecraft PvP, regardless if you're playing on the latest version of combat or using 1.8 combat mechanics, a general rule is that the more knockback that you deal to another player, the easier it will be to get extra hits on them. This is why in Minecraft PvP, sprint hits are essential for getting double hits and starting combos. In Minecraft PvP, when you start sprinting, only your first attack will actually be a sprint hit, and the rest of your attacks will either be sweep hits or crit hits. If you want to consistently sprint hit your opponent, you need to learn how to sprint reset. Sprint resetting is when you stop and start a sprint after each attack so that your next attack will always be a sprint hit. There's a lot of ways that you can sprint reset, a lot of which that aren't really that practical at all in PvP, but the 2 most common ways to sprint reset are by W tapping and S tapping. W tapping is when you let go of your W key and press it again in quick succession. Doing this with the right timing will allow you to sprint reset every time you W tap. S tapping is similar to W tapping, except after you release your W key, you quickly tap your S key before alternating back to your W key. Doing this will let you sprint reset and will also distance yourself a little bit from your opponent. Now, if you're a 1.8 PvPer, you might be thinking, well, Intel, I already know all about sprint resetting and W tapping. This stuff is easy to me. Well, that's where you're wrong. The timing for things like W tapping and S tapping is different on the latest version of PvP when compared to 1.8 PvP. On 1.8, while W tapping, you can hit another player while your W key is released and you'll still get a sprint hit. This is the way that most 1.8 PvPers are used to W tapping, but this doesn't work on the latest version of PvP. If you try W tapping or S tapping on the latest version as you would in 1.8, a lot of your hits will result in sweep hits instead of sprint hits. A lot of 1.8 PvPers really struggle on the latest version of PvP because they have to reach train their timings for sprint resetting if they want to constantly get sprint hits. The way that I learned how to time my W taps and S taps correctly was to let go of my W key and left click at the same time. It's gonna take some practice to get the timing down, but learning how to sprint reset is one of the first fundamental skills that you need to have in Minecraft PvP. This is why I said to pay attention to your audio while you're PvPing, because if you hear that you're getting sweep hits instead of sprint hits as you're sprint resetting, you'll know that your timing is wrong and you'll be able to correct yourself.
What is that?
Mom, do we have more gum?
Clorox cleans hundreds of messes and kills
In Minecraft PvP is mastering your attack speed. Whenever you swing a weapon, an attack cooldown indicator will appear below your crosshair. If you swing your weapon before the cooldown is finished, you'll deal less damage, and if you swing too early, you'll deal less knockback as well. Different weapons have different cooldowns, so you're gonna have to time your attacks differently depending on what weapon you're using. So does this mean that you should always wait for the attack cooldown to disappear before you attack again? Well, not exactly. If your attack indicator is at least 85% filled up, you can still sprint hit and crit hit someone. There's a lot of situations where attacking before the cooldown is finished, or delaying a hit even after the cooldown is finished can give you an advantage in PvP. One example of this is when it comes to comboing another player. Depending on who you fight, sprint hitting the other player when your attack indicator is at least 85% filled up can help you get double hits and hold combos easier than if you were to wait for the attack indicator to be completely filled up. One important thing to keep in mind is that if you sprint hit another player too fast, you'll hit them into the ground filled up. Double hits and hold combos easier than if you were to wait for the attack indicator to be completely filled up can help you get double advantage in PvP. One example of this is when it comes to comboing another player. Depending on who you fight, sprint hitting the other player when your attack indicator is at least 85% filled up can help you get double hits and hold combos easier than if you were attack indicator is at least 85% filled up can help you get double hits and hold combos easier than if you were to wait for the attack indicator to be completely filled up. One important thing to keep in mind, combos easier than when your attack indicator when it comes to comboing another player. Depending on who you fight, sprint hitting the other player when your attack indicator is at least 85% filled up can help you get double hits and hold combos easier than if you were to wait for the attack indicator to be completely filled up. One important thing to keep in mind is that if you sprint hit another player too fast, you'll hit them into the ground instead of hitting them up into the air. If this happens, you won't be able to hold a combo on the other player. When it comes to combos, something that a really good player told me is that you want to hit the player at a speed where you're not hitting them into the ground, but if you attack them any faster, they'll start to get hit into the ground. Having this perfect attack speed is going to enable you to hold other players in a combo. Do keep in mind that this perfect attack speed is not the same for every player that you fight. Generally, the laggier that another player is, the more you will have to wait between each attack to be able to hit them without them getting hit into the ground. This is why high ping players feel much harder to combo than low ping players. Another example of not following your attack indicator is when you intentionally delay your attack after the attack indicator cooldown is gone while hit selecting, but I'll talk about that later in the video. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is not to constantly rely off of your attack indicator to decide when you need to attack. There's situations where attacking earlier or later will put you at an advantage, and you'll learn that the more that you PvP. Okay, so now that I've talked about sprint resetting and your attack speed, let's combine both of those skills when it comes to comboing. Comboing is getting 2 or more consecutive hits on your opponent while they can't hit you. Let's first talk about starting a combo, and I'm going to show you guys 3 basic methods you can use to start a combo. With all 3 of these methods, you're going to be sprint hitting your opponent to start a combo, so keep that in mind. The first method is by baiting an attack out of your opponent when you go in to fight them. You're basically trying to get your opponent to miss an attack on you by making them think that you're about to attack them. You can do this by stopping your movement, backing up, or moving from side to side. It's basically like playing mind games with your opponent. As soon as you see them miss their attack, go in for a sprint hit and you'll have the opportunity to combo them. Another method is to try to get a close to 3 block hit on your opponent. If you didn't know, 3 blocks is the maximum distance you can be from another player or entity to be able to reach them with your attacks. To put it simply, you're trying to get a really far hit on your opponent where they won't be able to hit you back. The last method that I want to talk about that you can use to combo another player is called hit selecting. Hit selecting is when you intentionally wait for the other player to attack you first and you sprint hit them immediately after. If timed correctly, this will let you start a combo. I don't know why it works, but it just does. If both you and your enemy are hitting each other, you can intentionally delay your next attack to be able to hit select them into a combo. This is something you see a lot of very skilled sword players do in their fights. Also, if another player is backing up or their movement is stopped, then it's really easy to start a combo on them, so keep that in mind. Now, starting a combo is one thing, but how do you actually hold a combo? Holding a combo is a combination of 3 things: sprint resetting and attack speed, which I've already talked about, and spacing, which I'm about to get into. Spacing is basically the distance between you and your opponent after every hit. If your spacing is good, you can hold another player in a combo indefinitely where the only way for them to get out of it is to either turn around or back up. This is called combo locking. Good spacing is when you're able to hit your opponent and they aren't able to hit you back because you're outside of their range of reach. The maximum distance you can hit another player is 3 blocks away, so you want to try and make sure that you're as close as possible to 3 blocks away from them with every hit. To maintain this 3 block distance, you want to pause your movement for the right amount of time while you're sprint resetting. If you're W tapping, you want to let go of W for long enough that you don't enter the other player's range of reach when you attack them, but don't let it go for too long or else you'll hit them out of the combo. If you're getting too close to your opponent, you can also S tap as well to distance yourself a little bit. Making sure you have good spacing from your opponent is a little bit difficult and it involves a lot of timing, but something that can help you a lot is using the reach a little bit difficult as well to distance yourself a little bit out of the combo. If you're getting too close to your opponent, you can also S tap as well to distance yourself a little bit. Making sure you have good spacing from your opponent is a little bit difficult and it involves a lot of timing, but something that can help you a lot is using the reach display mod that's in Lunar Client. This mod will show you exactly how far the other player is from you when you attack them, so you can use this mod to practice getting hits that are as close as possible to 3 blocks away from the other player. For most of this video, I've talked about sprint resetting and comboing, but that's not all that it takes to get good at PvP. Crit hits are super important in Minecraft PvP, and depending on what game mode you're playing, will determine whether you win or lose a fight. Getting multiple consecutive crit hits on your opponent is called crit chaining, and this is an easy way to shred through another player's health. Remember that to be able to crit hit someone, you need to stop your sprint, and you usually do this by releasing